to a classic, to say the least, Chain of Fools by Aretha Franklin, because that's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time, 2 to 4 on Thursday. 3 birds, 1 stone coming up right here after the break. We'll be right back.
That's a sound of a worried man. Ha ha, that's a sound of having a good time. That's a sound of pain. Chain, chain, chain.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of 3 Birds and 1 Stone here on WUDR Flyer Radio 99.5 here in Dayton, Ohio. I'm your host, Joe Sullivan, alongside my partners, Andrew Wagner, a.k.a. Wags, the man. Wags, welcome back. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing amazing.
Good.
Got a haircut last week. Feel like a new man.
Yep.
Ready to tackle the week.
Absolutely.
Get after it.
Let's go.
Weekend ahead of me.
I love it. I love it. We got Mitchell Durham back. Money Mitch, welcome back. I mean, the trifecta, the three amigos, were back in business.
You
Mitch,
already
how you
know.
doing, bro?
I'm doing good. It's been a great week so far. It's a beautiful day. You can't ask for better weather in Dayton, Ohio. So, I'm just ready to get going.
It's a beautiful day, and I mean, when you talk to any of us, and we hope that our listeners, think the same thing. It is a perfect time here on a beautiful Thursday to just enhance this environment that we have right now, and the opportunity we have for Three Birds, One Stone here on WUDR. And our special guest today, our Stone of the Week, is Mr. Evan Just. Evan, welcome to the show.
Hey. Welcome, Evan.
How you doing, Evan?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. It's good to have you.
Here.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Our fourth guest now on Three Birds and One Stone, and it's a special day. It's a special Thursday. Beautiful day. I mean, it's unbelievable. We kind of got a glimpse of this, I believe, a few weeks ago. It was on a Thursday. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Really
when
windy,
we did
too,
our show.
right?
Yeah, a little windy, but it was
today.
super cool. I mean, we had a ton of people with kites out right outside the station. But it's another one of those days. And maybe it's Mother Nature giving us just a little hint and trying to mess with our heads, thinking that spring's coming. But it feels good, to say the least.
Oh, yeah. You can't. It's literally, we're still in February, man. And, it's 70 degrees, it can't get better, honestly.
No, absolutely not.
And I feel like, aside from maybe one of these weeks, one of these days we had a show, it's been good weather. Coming in here, it's been pretty beautiful out.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
We're getting
weather's
blessed.
been really
We're blessed.
good recently, actually. I'm scared it's going to get really cold again, like below 30s.
Right. I think it's supposed to be getting 50s this weekend.
It won't be too bad.
Which is, again, not too bad from what we've been having.
If the sun's out, it'll feel good.
Absolutely. I think we can rock with that for sure. Again, a lot to talk about in this show. Obviously, last week we had a great show with our good guest Brady. He was great.
Happy baby.
And in other news, again, our Instagram page is finally underway. We got our first post out yesterday. So again, you can follow that on Three Birds and One Stone. The one is a numero. So make sure to tune in. We actually just posted Mr. Evan Just on our story. So go ahead.
Let's go, EJ.
Tap in, give EJ a follow on Instagram, and again, follow us. Just show love, peace, love,
Run the numbers
positivity.
up.
Absolutely.
Drop some comments.
Exactly. Whatever floats your boat, we appreciate it all because it's been a good start. Again, we started this account less than 24 hours ago, and we've already making some decent numbers. So we appreciate all the love and all the listeners. Quick shout out to Megan Shipley and Lauren Helbig. I believe they're currently listening right now. Two goats,
What up, shit?
and they have their own little show on Fridays. So tomorrow, make sure to tune in if you're interested in that. Again, great content.
Do they have a name?
I believe I'm sure they do. I know their time is right around this time. So definitely tune in there. They're great, and they always get guests as well. So make sure to keep updated here on WUDR and tune into the stream. But before we get into things, obviously we have our OG crew back with me, Wags, and Money Mitch. But Evan, I want to ask a few questions. Obviously, it was a pleasure getting you on here. You shot me a text yesterday and like, you got a radio show tomorrow? And I was like, finally, finally we got somebody who wants to be on, right? And I hopefully, to all our listeners out there, if you're interested in joining, being on an episode, you can DM us on Instagram or talk to one of us. We would love to have you. Again, whatever works. But EJ, before we get into our show, I want to ask you a little bit. Obviously, from the Cleveland area, correct? Tell me a little bit about your sports fandom and kind of your journey as a sports fan.
Oh, it is so hard being a Cleveland fan. It is so hard. Well, I would definitely say my favorite team is the Cleveland Browns, which is unfortunate because they're getting better. Let's say that. They're getting better.
It's definitely true.
Deshaun Watson, we'll see how he progresses in the offseason. Hopefully they can get some more acquisitions, but I don't know. We are going to have to find out.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously Cleveland Browns. I'm a Bears fan, so we're kind of in the same boat here. Mitch is a fan
Two
of
Washington fans.
Mitch is a fan of two football teams, so whichever team is winning.
Yeah, left hand up though.
Yeah, right. But again, two Washington fans. And I forgot to mention, we do have Isaiah Ford in the building, our first ever Stoner. Our first ever Stone. So shout out to Isaiah. He is in the building listening. And he is here for not only to show love here on Three Birds, One Stone, but also for a special occasion that we will get into. And again, we might have a live review, ladies and gentlemen, of the Springsteen of the Week.
Oh my gosh, we're definitely gonna have to.
I think we have
a live
to.
review.
I got an order coming in right now. It should be coming around it's 2:16, Isaiah. So is that when your order was ready?
Yeah, I'm about to go see what they got to get up
Yeah,
in a second.
I think so. So we will, again, to all our listeners, we live and breathe Art Street, and we give our weekly reviews on the Springsteen. I have yet to have mine today, but again, it's been very solid this week.
Very,
definitely the A-team.
a very good week.
Good start on Monday. Yesterday was unbelievable. Mitch and Isaiah, I'm sure you guys can attribute to that. It's been, just fantastic. But yeah, back to you, EJ. Sorry about that.
We're good.
So obviously, Browns fan. Talk to me about baseball.
Okay, I am a Guardians fan,
Yep.
but I call them the Indians.
There you go.
And I will always call them the Indians.
Canceled.
Loyalty.
I think they're going to do something special next year. I think Jose Ramirez could be the MVP next year. I do think he could be. the MVP.
He had an unbelievable
He is
season last year.
Insane.
Yeah, and I'm a Chicago White Sox fan, so we're division rivals, and I think we all, even last year when Cleveland made their run at the end of the season, and they beat. I believe they beat the who did they beat in the wild card? God, I forget.
Wow, I forget too.
It wasn't. Did they lose to the Yankees? They lost the Yankees.
They took the
in
Yankees to 5 games.
5, yeah.
Which I am
Right.
proud of.
They beat. It would have been. Oh gosh, who was it?
I
makes me
could not
sad.
tell you.
I remember watching it with you. And
What
we were
series
The
talking
was
about it.
Marlins? No.
No, they were bad. It was
Yeah,
the
they were
wild
bad.
card last year. Cleveland, they had a walk-off in one of the games. I remember that. Man, it was...
Was it like the Rangers or something? No,
I don't think so. I don't think they made the playoffs.
they might have been bad.
It was
Mariners?
I wanted to say Mariners, but the Stros beat the Mariners.
I'll
They
look it up.
swept.
They were Royals. No.
Nah, I feel like they were trash.
Well, but yeah, because Cleveland was the only team out of the AL Central to come out.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because my Chicago White Sox were quite literally the definition of mediocre last year, going 500.
Could it have been an AL East team?
It had to be, somebody who snuck in the AL.
Jays?
Why is this so hard to find?
Playoffs. This
Oakland,
hurts. No, Oakland didn't make it.
We should just give up.
Marlins.
Was it
Twins.
oh my gosh. It was the Rays.
It was the Rays?
Okay.
I was pretty close.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
it was
was
a fish.
Yeah,
I knew
it was
a
the Tampa
fish.
Bay Rays.
Alright.
So they beat the Rays and again sent the Yankees to 5 games. Yankees pulled out a tight one, and I'm sure, with our good
Very
friend Peter
tight.
Grant, that was a fun series to watch.
Oh, I was watching
Yeah,
it,
ask him
too.
about the
Yeah,
next
that was-
series.
That was something.
Yeah, but again, hey, it's a new year and spring is upon us, and baseball season's coming up, and I know we love
Spring
baseball.
training?
Here. We
I'm
love
excited.
the
College
environment.
baseball.
Exactly. We
College
got-
baseball's kicked off.
Right, college
started,
baseball is
yeah.
off in Wags. I know you're a huge fan of college baseball. Ole Miss, you know what I'm saying?
They swept Delaware over the weekend. I mean, I was watching some of the highlights of my science class,
Yeah.
and they just murdered them.
Are they
it
ranked?
was so fun. Yeah, I think they're
Six. I think
yeah.
they were 6th
Wow.
preseason. I don't know where they're sitting at right now, but again, national champions last year. And I think anybody who pays attention to college baseball knows that SEC baseball is unbelievable. It's
no joke.
It's unreal. It's second to none. And there's a ton of good teams, which we can talk about a little later. But also, you got the Nationals. Mitch, you're a Reds fan. Go Reds, baby. Big Red machine.
We'll see how they do this season.
Exactly. It's kind of another year of saying hopefully
Rebuilding.
we can get a little bit better each year, and they've been, rebuilding. But they've, gotten a lot of prospects. As for my Chicago White Sox, again, EJ, both in the same division with the Cleveland Guardians. We'll see how this year goes. It should be a fun one, and definitely, again, we're going to keep up to date here on Three Birds and One Stone as far as baseball goes. And then as far as basketball goes, I know you are a Cleveland. I like the shirt.
Cavaliers.
Look at the shirt.
Yeah.
That is a sick shirt, man.
71
That's
game by
awesome.
Donovan Mitchell. I was
That's tough.
in attendance for that.
Yeah.
It was one of the best basketball
Oh,
games
yeah, I
I've
forgot
ever
you were
been to.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was over break, wasn't
Yes,
it?
I got the tickets for free, too.
That's
so
crazy. And I remember.
Is that what tied for the third highest?
It is the highest points in Cavs history, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And definitely,
It's up
Ties
there all
D-Book,
time.
right?
definitely combined with his assists because he had 10 assists.
Yeah,
so-
that's unbelievable.
It's
lot
so
of points.
cool.
I do remember that was
crazy.
over break, and I remember I was with a bunch of buddies watching, that game. That game occurred the same night that DeMar Hamlin
Yes, it
got
did.
hit and went down, and it basically,
Got covered up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
No
it
one ever
covered
really
too
talked
much,
about
but
it.
That was against my Chicago Bulls, so I remember like it was yesterday. That game was unbelievable. I mean, I was sent it to overtime, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What a
but
good
with the
game.
DeMar Hamlin thing, I was just sitting there, and the people in front of me brought up the news on their phone.
Yeah.
I was like, "What is going on?"
It's crazy.
And then I just had to look it up, and I was like, "Oh my,
Yeah.
this is crazy,
Unbelievable. And Mitch, you were there.
Yeah, I was at the
I
DeMar
think
Hamlin
that's
thing.
something we
That
have
is-
not talked about here on Three Birds, One Stone. Obviously, you know, anybody who pays attention to sports.
That's crazy.
in the
We
sports
were at
world,
both of those events that night.
Yeah. So I mean, probably the craziest NFL story that's happened this year. I mean, it was a super scary moment and really sad. Mitch, you were there. Obviously, the Bengals taking on the Bills in that game, fighting for the number 1 spot or for home field advantage
yeah.
in the playoffs. In the game, you know, ended really fast after DeMar Hamlin got hit and collapsed onto the field. Mitch, tell us a little bit about that moment. I mean,
So
unbelievable.
first of all, like before the game, man, the atmosphere was electric. I mean, like it was Cincinnati was booming, man, and I personally I've never experienced like Cincinnati at that level. It was really sick to be there, and just all the people were out saying "Who Dey" every 5 seconds, and you know that's the spirit of the team. And we get in the stadium, man, just ready to watch like one of the probably one of the best games of like football the regular season was supposed to have.
Yeah.
And I mean, both teams started off really well. And I just remember we were standing there and like not even really like paying that much attention because it was a kickoff. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden we just like we look out there and we see like all the people on the field and like they show replay. But you couldn't really see the hit. You just see him like someone get tackled and like someone falls over. And I just remember like everything it was super quiet in the stadium and like everyone was like, what's going on? And then like the ambulance went out there and that's when we were kind of like, oh,
This is normal.
This is not normal. It's like this is very rare. And like all the players were just like acting so different. You know, they were all in the big circle. And I mean, like, I just remember like someone like being next to us and saying, look at this clip, and like just showing us like DeMar Hamlin just like literally passing out. And we were like, I mean, it was crazy. But the craziest part about it is that like literally nothing was said. Like the announcers weren't talking at all. There was nothing on the Jumbotron. So it's basically just like the whole crowd just talking. And it was really crazy being there. And then they just like, people started leaving, and then just like, because like everyone, there were so many rumors going around with like what they were going to do with the game.
Yeah.
And they eventually on the Jumbotron said like, oh, give us like, we're taking like the game is on like a delay. And I think that's like about all it said. And we just had to like leave. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, it could have been planned, definitely not planned, but you know, it could have been dealt with a little bit better as far as the referees go. I mean, I remember, you know, the talk around the town was after, you know, the referees talking about, all right, we'll give you like, what was it, 30 minutes to warm up, something like that, and then we'll get back into the game. And it had to take the coaches. It was the coaches who stood up and were like, we're not playing this game. Like,
Which
his
good on
health
both
is-
of the
yeah,
coaches,
absolutely.
especially Zach Taylor.
Yeah.
And like, because that was a very huge game for
Right.
both of those teams.
Right.
And like, I mean, the playoffs kind of showed it. But it was probably going to be one of the best games of the year too.
It was unbelievable. And I mean, Wags, were you watching that game? Because I remember I was watching, and it just felt like you could even tell through the broadcast that like the life was just sucked out of the stadium.
Yeah, I wasn't watching my. I was on my phone and my dad came upstairs and talked about it. And then I, hopped on Twitter, started watching the videos. I think like Joe Buck was announcing that night. I thought he did a good job of just kind of like, not trying to like say anything too much, but also be like respectful.
Yeah.
So they were like, keeping like managing it pretty well. But it's that thing's scary. Like
It was so scary being there too.
Yeah.
Like
And
everyone was just like so quiet.
And they also cut the broadcast. I mean, right? After it happened, they went back to like NFL Live. The guy, the crew back at the studio because they just didn't want people. They didn't want to televise that live. What was going on? I mean, the fact that they had to give him CPR on the field was just unbelievable. It's just a crazy moment in sports, and man, that was just what a day. I mean,
Literally, and I feel like no one talked about Donovan Mitchell.
nobody
And,
talked
like,
about
I
that
remember
Donovan.
like
71
getting home and being
crazy.
like, he had 71 points.
And
I
the
was like,
Bulls were
oh my
up
god,
a significant amount in that game. I remember watching,
at
and I was
one
like,
point-
"Oh my god, the Cavs are pulling
Yeah.
away. Like they're making
At
it
one
tight."
point, we were thinking like, this is just over. Like, this is unfortunate that we came to this game, and then we just stayed and
Yeah,
worked out in the end. But yeah,
unreal.
it's crazy that it's not talked about because it
Yeah.
was a franchise record.
It was, yeah. And I mean, he is unbelievable. And again, we'll get a little bit into the All-Star game and All-Star weekend, which is this past weekend, and the dunk contest and stuff around there. But yeah, that was a crazy day. But in Donovan Mitchell, I mean, it was unbelievable, and he's been great for the Cavs this year. And I believe, where are they at in the East right now? I know they're in a good spot.
I believe fifth.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're in a great spot right now, and they're really good. Just a lot of good players on that squad. Garland has been great this year. Just a solid overall.
I'd love
team.
to see him make a good run, but the East is tough. There's some good teams in the East.
Yeah.
I was telling Pete, Tyler, and Noah that I think whoever wins the Eastern Conference will win the NBA Finals. Because I think it will be the Boston Celtics are very good.
Yeah, they're really good.
The 76ers will make a run.
We'll see.
We always
Even
say that
with,
about the Sixers, but I guarantee that those Eastern Conference Finals, it's going to be Bucks Celtics, most likely,
And
if
then
I
the
had to take a
Bucks.
guess.
Yeah, I mean, East. There's a lot of good teams in the East, but the West is really what's packed. I mean, especially with KD going to the
Especially
Suns.
with like superstars, they have all the superstars.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be a tough conference, to get out of. And I'm sure the Grizzlies and John Morant will figure that out pretty quickly, even though they said they won't have any problems in the West right now. Once, KD gets into things out in Phoenix, they're going to be a good squad. And again, all those other teams, obviously Golden State coming off last year's run, a lot to look forward in the NBA. And again, college basketball we'll get into a little after the break as well. But before we go to a quick break, EJ, you also are somewhat of an Ohio State fan. Tell me a little bit about your background in that and, being a Buckeye.
Well, I've loved Ohio State for as long as I can remember. My uncle has season tickets, and they go every year to, I believe, the Michigan game. Maybe not the Michigan game, but they do go to one big game a year. So that's always fun because I think he went here, actually. He did not go to Ohio State, but he's just a big fan, and they live in Washington, D.C., so they come down, and they have a good time there. I've actually never been to an Ohio State game, though.
Football game?
Yeah.
Really?
Never.
Interesting. Yeah. Have you ever been to the Shoe in Columbus?
I believe so. I think
around there, like on campus?
Maybe for a lacrosse game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I forgot that makes sense that they would play them on the...
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a basketball game at Ohio State?
No. No, I've not.
But you have been to the campus?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Definitely.
It's fun. I think I've been to, I want to say 2 games. I was really young. I mean, it's been a while since I've been, and I also have been to a few college basketball games as well out in Columbus. I was brainwashed as a kid as an Ohio State fan. My dad went to grad school there, so I was brainwashed pretty quickly. And, I still root for them in football.
It's all right. It happens to the best.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I can't get is, like, where I'm from, no one really roots for, like, the big state school that we have, like, but everyone here loves Ohio State, no matter where you're from.
People's campus.
People in dude, it's crazy. There are a lot of active Ohio State fans on Dayton's campus.
Right. Basketball, maybe not so much, and especially after the year that Ohio State basketball has had. I mean, they've been god-awful this year. You have Dayton basketball. That's the team we cheer for here. But as far as football, it feels like a lot of people are Ohio State fans, and I guess that makes sense.
Nationally,
we don't have an
nationally.
FBS team here, so
right, exactly.
Yeah, I could totally see that, honestly.
Yeah, Flyers still playing in the Pioneer League.
I was definitely brainwashed as a Dayton fan from childhood. 'Cause my dad went here.
Yeah.
Uncle went here. Everybody.
That's awesome.
A lot of people went here.
Right.
So.
I mean, that's what's
definitely
so great about it.
Basketball for me too, with my dad.
And again, we'll talk.
Wags, you gotta be too.
Yeah,
I was Dayton and Maryland. I loved Maryland, just going to those games. Like I would go with my buddy, and we would just like have an awesome time in the student section. So that was like amazing to follow. And like when I was in high school, I made a little like website when I was taking this one class, and I dedicated it to Maryland basketball.
That's
so
awesome.
I was like keeping up with it heavy. But like I was always following Dayton basketball too. And like, when they were in the tournament, like we were at the bars watching the game, with my parents.
In that 2020 run,
Oh, dude, of course.
Go Terps, though.
I was at 2 games. I saw Obi Toppin.
That's awesome.
With Sal in Richmond. It was tough.
That's so cool.
It was sweet.
Yeah, I'm sure. Was that Richmond game? Did he do an East Bay that one or no? One of those games, it was late in the regular season. He did an East Bay, he had a breakaway, and it was like his main clip of that 2020 season. Where
it could have been St. Louis or Rhode Island.
Was that the game they had on game day
Rhode
too?
Island.
Or Rhode Island.
It might have been the game they had on game day.
It might have been too, yeah. I think it was. One of those games they did have on game day.
One was George Washington at Dayton.
I know he had an East Bay in one of those games, like late in the regular season and a conference game at home. I mean,
the Richmond game was close. He might have had a breakaway dunk at the end. But
I mean, I'm sure he had a dunk, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that place probably went nuts. Unbelievable time in Dayton basketball. And we'll see. I mean, who knows in the next few years. We'll talk about that again later in the show if they can get back to the glory days. As, Flyers won last night, beating UMass by 18.
It was a good game.
Yeah. Did what they needed to do, winning in double digits against a middle-of-the-pack UMass team, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But we're going to take a quick break here on WUDR Flyer Radio. Again, stay tuned in. We got a lot of topics to talk about, a lot of things to get in here as, again, EJ, the man, the myth, the legend, is on the show today. He is our stone here on Three Birds in One Stone. But we'll be right back after the break.
To fight for my yearnings. Fear in my mind is a warning. Pray to the one you're relying. I've been wandering all day. I tried to be fine, but I can't be. The noise in my mind wouldn't leave me. I tried to get by, but I'm burning. And behind my mind, it runs. All these thoughts have troubled me. Fighting to give up my pain. Fighting to be on my lane. My mind running to the cannot buy. Send me a love that you cannot mix. One is the joy that you cannot waste, and the other one price that you cannot fix. This is the peace that you cannot buy. Finding a way where you cannot see. Man with this system, he cannot pray. I need to find relief. But behind my mind, it runs. All these thoughts have troubled me. Fighting to give up my pain. Fighting to be on my lane. My mind running to the other side. When it's time to leave my life, then it tries to take me out. Tell you what I need, right here. I really need my love. I really need to free my love. I really need your love. I need to free my mind out. I really need your love. I really need to free my love. I really need your love. Oh, yeah. Just set me free, freer than the open mind, farther than the eyes can handle, freer than the ocean now. Yeah, yeah. So set me free. Now I need to find release. Set me to the open sky. Now I need to free my mind. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, oh no. I might be falling deep. 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 Tell me now what you need. I've been going to God when I'm all in my mind. I might be falling. I might be falling. I might be falling. I might be falling, yeah.
To the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness. The track hits your eardrum like a slug to your chest. Back a vest for your Jimmy in the city of sex. We in that sunshine state where the bomb ass him be. The state where you never find a dance floor empty and pimp speed. On a mission for them greens. Lean, mean, money making machines, serving fiends. I've been in the game for 10 years making rap tunes. Ever since Honeys was wearing Sassoon, now it's 95 and they clock me and watch me diamond shining, looking like a Rob Liberace. It's all good from Diego to the Bay. Your city is the bomb if your city making pay. Throw up a finger if you feel the same way. Straight putting it down for California, yeah.
Something's happening
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WUDR Flyer Radio here in Dayton, Ohio. I'm Joe Sullivan, alongside my partners Wags and Mitch, and our stone of the day, EJ the man, the killer, the dripper,
the legend,
the legend,
E40.
big E40, E-bands. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Three Birds, One Stone here on WUDR. Follow our Instagram, and you will see unfortunately, you can't see our faces right now, but you will see a beautiful picture of EJ. If you take a look at our Instagram, on our Instagram story, he is our stone of the day, as well as we do have a nice little intro post, so you get to see a little bit about some
previous
cute
guests.
Baby pictures too, and some previous guests as well.
Yeah, and
our last three guests, Isaiah, again, who was just here. Isaiah had some things to do. Again, he's an academic weapon. Let's let him be, and let him get on his way, gentlemen. But we also had Carlos and Brady. Those are two other great shows. So those were our previous guests, and then EJ today. So it's been a ride so far. And
great lineup.
It has, yeah. It's been unbelievable, and it's just a treat to be here every Thursday. And it's again only the beginning of what could be here in Three Birds and One Stone. So now, usually, we start off our show with a little introduction of our stone, and we get into like some random topics, right? What's going around? So we talked about Grammys, Oscar nominations, but there's one thing that we always stick to, and that is our good old Springsteen review here at our street.
Oh yeah!
Tell him Bruce sent you. And so we always talk about that in our first segment. But for today, we decided to do, again, we mentioned it in the beginning of our show, a live. We did we're doing a little live review, which unfortunately my sandwich didn't make it past the break. I destroyed my Wags. Did you finish yours too?
I got a couple bites left.
But we can talk about it because this is right after it. Mitch, you've had yours.
Yeah.
Correct?
30 minutes ago.
And EJ, you have not had one, unfortunately.
I don't think I've ever had one.
Ooh, that's got to change.
My heart.
Evan.
Oh my God, my heart. Oh, I can't believe we didn't get him one. You're in Neighborhood, right? Like
yes, I am.
Oh, we totally should have got him one.
But when I come to our street, I usually get the Mercury.
The Mercury. Noah said the same thing to us yesterday.
Lame
It's
order.
still a good sandwich.
It is a great sandwich.
But it's no Springsteen.
It is, but
no Springsteen.
But
The
here we
Springsteen
stay
does
loyal.
look good, really good.
It does. And I feel horrible now. I feel like we totally should have ordered. I would have ordered two if I knew that. But that's okay. We this show must go on here in Three Birds and One Stone, and that's totally okay. Because again, Mercury is a great sandwich, and there's a reason why. As far as sales go, it's our street's number one sale.
Is it?
That's what my sources tell me. Yeah,
I think it is.
It is their number one. Like for Flyer Enterprises, they send out emails like every week for like their sales for each student-run business, and then it'll show like their top ordered items, like how much money they made and stuff like that. And
we can see the top ordered items.
I don't know if we can see, but I know the workers, everybody in FE can see from like
we
other.
got our sources.
So my sources were showing me some graphs and some stuff, and I think Springsteen was at 3, which I'm sure here in Three Birds, One Stone, we contributed to probably about a third of that profit.
It's got to be Dolly Mercury.
It's Mercury 1. I don't know what number 2 was. I'm trying to think of
gotta be the Dolly.
What could it have been. Springsteen 3. What's
There's
the
a whole
barbecue
day of the
one?
week.
Is there a barbecue?
Oh,
is.
Zeppelin.
Zeppelin might be 2.
That might be it.
It's totally. I feel like it's totally Zeppelin.
I never got that one.
Like barbecue
Mercury's
chicken's so
alright.
popular.
Barbecue
So
chicken
popular.
is totally popular, and again, the Mercury's a classic. That's definitely the most popular, and props to anybody who gets the Mercury because there's a reason why it's top. But here we like to stay loyal, and it's okay. So let's get into it. Our review of the day of the Springsteen, and it was a great week, if you ask me.
Very good.
Compared to last week, which was. It was a down week. It was a tough one, and throughout the season, just like any other sports team, right? Any other program, right? You ask any other FE programs. Our street is, in my opinion, the top program in the Dayton
It's the
area.
Alabama. It's the Alabama
number one team in the country.
FE.
Yeah,
and honestly, all of UD campus.
Yeah.
For food.
I'd say it's for me in my AP poll. It's number one in the 937, right? So, but everybody has their tough weeks. It's kind of like college basketball, where you can't win every game, right? And in a tough game in bad conditions like it was last week on some of those days, right? It's tough to produce your best product. And they struggled last week, and we talked a little bit about that. I think we did get some sandwiches on Thursday.
Yeah.
And they were pretty good. from last Thursday. But this week, a bounce back week, and that's what a number one team in my eyes does. Is they bounce.
How bad do you want it?
And how bad? And again, we say that all the time in the show. How bad do you want it? They wanted it bad. They wanted their customers back. Because when we came this past Monday, I mean, it was a ghost town.
It was not like the week or 2 weeks before.
So we usually get there. Me and Isaiah's class. Isaiah and I, we end class at 12:05, and then we walk over here. Probably get here like 12:15, 12:20, and then it's kind of where everybody's here for the lunch rush, and then you have that quick little 20-minute, 30-minute rush, and then it kind of clears out.
Right,
but
when
it was all cleared out on Monday, and I think a little bit is from last week. People caught them slacking, caught them on a bad day, and were like, maybe I don't know if they're gonna deliver today, but they did. They delivered Monday. Wednesday they did. They delivered for me. Shout out Miss Shelby.
Wednesday was really good.
Yeah, no, Wednesday was fantastic. I don't know if Shelby's listening, but she is a fan of the show. And Miss Shelby, if you are listening, we are a fan of you because I mean she embodies the A team here at Arch Street, and she is what this program sets out to be, and she's one of the leaders on the squad.
Kind of almost. I don't want to say the Nick Saban, but she might as well be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good play. I mean, could we get some player comps for Miss Shelby here? I'm sure she would find this outrageous if she was listening right now, but let's think of some player comps of what she could be as far as...
We're talking like college programs or just like anything?
You name it.
Only a sophomore, too. Young talent.
Young talent. Yeah, that's true. A young talent. Let's think of a professional athlete. It can be in whatever sport.
Connor McDavid.
Jason Tatum.
Connor McDavid. That's right.
McJesus.
That is a great comparison. Jason Tatum's a good one. Man, I'm trying to think. Oh man, this is a tough question. I'm gonna say.
You're like a.
I'm gonna say she's like a man.
Jalen Hurts, maybe.
Jalen Hurts is a good one.
I was thinking Justin Herbert.
I was literally
Justin
just about
Herbert.
to say Justin Herbert.
Herb, I like
That's
that.
the one. And again, EJ delivers the stone of the week. Thank you. This is why he's on the show, ladies and gentlemen, because that is a fantastic answer. Justin Herbert, I mean, he came in with the hype and he delivered. And he's young. Just had, last year the Chargers didn't end the way like they wanted to, but was second in the NFL in passing yards. And, Miss Shelby, she passes the rock, right? Whether she's doing the register and she gets you right, you know what I'm saying? I know what you want, you know what I'm saying? She knows the dealie. Or she's behind chefing it up. Like she will assist
Or she's
her
looking
teammates.
Or she's looking in the back
Multitask.
for the sea salt and vinegar chips.
Right,
Yeah.
and that too, exactly. Or she's looking
Dedication, man, on and off the court.
It's unbelievable. And even when, she sees our faces and she knows what we want. We don't even have to tell her. We say, hey, tell him Bruce sent you. And we do. Hey, Bruce sent me, right? She knows not to single pickle, but to double pickle.
No, come on.
Double pickle Rick, and she gives us the double pickle. And again, she just gets her teammates involved, right? That's just what it's all about.
Feeds the rock around.
Absolutely. And another thing is, she makes her presence known, and I think Justin Herbert does a good job of that in his young career. And man, it's just going to be fun to watch what Miss Shelby can do in the rest of her career here in the 937, because she is, a talented player on a talented squad.
Very true, very true.
So shout out to Shelby. But yeah, this week was a great week for Arch Street. Definitely bounced back, and for me, definitely put them up in the AP poll. I will say last week, and I think I mentioned this in the show, it was my first time having a bistro breakfast sandwich.
Oh, wow. It was last week?
Last week was my first time. I had a bacon, egg, cheese, a little hot sauce on an everything bagel, and it delivered. And I only had one of those last week, but they moved up to my AP poll. They were number one in my AP poll last week.
For breakfast foods or
just
everything?
overall?
That quick, you had one.
Overall, it delivered. It did the job. Best breakfast sandwich I've had on campus so far. ABP has some good ones.
I might need to try it.
I've had it twice this week, and it has been fantastic. They're probably number 2 of mine. I mean, I have also had Arch Street 4 times already this week. Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Probably going to have it tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe Saturday.
Yeah. No, they were chefing up today. Shout out Miss Kate.
But, I get the sausage, egg, and cheese on a little croissant with a pepper jack and hot sauce.
Pepper jack fire.
And
I took your word on the pepper jack. I had cheddar last week. And, I was asking some questions today. I was like, hey, maybe I should go pepper jack. I heard it's the move, and I did, and it delivered.
It was very good. You get croissant this week or bagel?
Bagel. I did everything bagel, and it was everything. It was everything I've ever wanted. It was unbelievable.
Do you know why they call them everything bagels? It's because...
Everything everywhere. No, I'm fine.
No. This is a story I heard this week. It's because the Everything Dog in Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, so they take all the seasonings, they dry them up, and they so it's like pickles, relish, onions. So like bagel seeds. So like basically everything it's based off the Chicago dog.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That's so
and that's
cool.
why they call it everything seasoning.
That's awesome. I do have breaking news right now. I hate to interrupt this conversation, but this is breaking news as Three Birds and One Stone has finally gotten a follow from the man, the myth, the legend, Cousin Vinny's here.
I hope he's listening.
Hey.
Shout out to Cousin Vinny's. Man, that is
awesome.
My heart is pumping. It's beating. That is history for us boys, and I man, it's what a great start to our careers here.
Wow.
And I think that is
game changing.
Hopefully we'll be seeing him soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
I want to.
We got to set that up.
Exactly. Hopefully we can get him on the show. That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna text him today. We'll get it started. Yeah.
For sure, get to cooking, and get Mr. Vinny in here. We got a lot to talk about, and I think it would just be a great collab. Just collabing with not only the best radio program in the 937, but the best pizza program. I mean,
Best social media guy.
right?
I mean, he's active. He's on it.
His social
Active.
media game is pretty awesome.
And not only he promoting his stuff and his goodies, right? His late night goodies, and but he's just involving everybody in the Dayton community.
He's a big
He's
fan
always
of the
with
community
students.
here.
He loves the students. He's he's got his regulars, his people, right? Doing
player.
giveaways, T-shirts.
He feeds
cups,
them right
name it.
too. He gives a lot of stuff out. Very respectable guy. I love
Oh
that
yeah,
about him.
very generous.
Yeah, and again,
Like when we got our shirts wags.
Yeah, they were. I'm pretty sure he gave them to us for free, and then
Yeah.
posted
Yeah, we
us
did.
after we sent him a little DM.
I remember that. Man, just what a great program they got over there at Cousin Vinny's, and best late night pizza spot here. Not even close.
Yeah.
As he
Yeah, it
liked
is.
just got 2 likes on our story.
Hey.
So shout out to him, man. A lot of love.
Did I tell you I talked to him
Yeah.
a week ago? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he said he was totally into it and
That's
he
awesome.
loved it. So
He's a great guy.
We gotta
And
make it happen.
Please,
soon.
I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, that interview would be unbelievable. The countless stories that he has. I mean,
it would be hilarious.
I'm sure he has seen it all.
Yeah.
And I'm super, excited to hopefully get
Can
to
that
work
be
on-
unrated?
I don't know.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, I think it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
I think
Oh
it
my
would
God.
I think it would be
awesome.
awesome. And that would be such great content.
A lot of
for
clips
us.
to come from that too.
For sure.
I'd love to ask him how many people have ordered pizza and just forgotten to show up.
Dude,
Probably the
passed out.
worst.
This is the worst thing actually, because when the guy texted me, old texts from when I ordered Vinny's came up,
no.
and the last one was when I fell asleep, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm coming by last delivery of the night," and I was
KO.
passed out,
Oh.
and he was like, dude, no way. Our text pulled up from earlier before, and I
And
was
you're
like,
yikes.
I was like, dude, I'm so
You
sorry.
fell victim.
and he was very, very chill about it. He was like, no worries, man. Never a problem, sir.
Right.
Very respectable.
Wow.
No worries.
Shout out him.
He gets to
Shout
the
out
bread
him.
at the end of the day. So, shout out to him. Shout out to Big Ten. Shout out everything over at Cousin Vinny's. So
That might have to happen tonight. That might have to
it's
happen
100%
tonight.
happening this weekend.
Yeah.
Definitely on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
We're
Gotta introduce
going to town.
the homies.
Yeah, I got some locals from back home in Chicago coming in, and a ton of people's family. EJ, do you have family coming in this
My
weekend?
dad is coming.
Yeah.
My dad is
Hey.
also
Mr.
Yeah.
Just, Mr. Durham. That's awesome.
Why is everyone's parents
his annual
Saturday game.
fraternity get together. So
What
That's
fraternity
awesome.
was he in?
Lambda Chi Alpha.
Let's
They
go,
are-
baby.
They are no longer on the campus for
But,
some
like a lot
things
of
that
friends.
Happened after he left.
Good. He
they
was
all
a good
say.
brother at the end of the day.
So
Shout out
it's
Lambda
about,
Chi.
about him, maybe 15 other
Nice.
friends. So
That's awesome. That's super exciting. Yeah, a lot of people coming in.
brothers.
Mr.
You gotta
Durham
love it. You
coming
gotta
in.
love it. Oh yeah, my dad's gonna be here. I'm sure we'll stop by his old letter house too.
you can
A
access.
little Chi Sigs, SAEs. You know how we do it here.
Yeah, is Mr. Durham currently listening? I know he's a big fan of us, and if he's not, that's okay. We always show him love.
He might be.
active
He's
on
a
our
busy
Instagram.
guy. He's a busy guy. Could
Yeah.
be working. I sure hope he is though, and if he is, always big shout out to
Yep.
the man, the myth, the legend, my dad.
Shout out to him and shout out his profile picture on Instagram. I mean, he's just continuing with the great content. And again, he's shown us love already on our Instagram page. So
Why wasn't that your baby picture, Mitch? Like,
Yeah,
why was
that
that?
was
That wasn't a
good
baby picture.
that was it was like a year ago. No, I'm exactly.
That's a Mitch.
Classic. Unbelievable. But yeah, shout out to Cousin Vinny's though. We got a lot of work to get into, so we appreciate the love. Again, we appreciate everybody who's listening and all the other love on Instagram. As again, we got a long way to go here. 3 birds, 1 stone. But back to the Springsteen. I mean, one we just had, for me, it delivered. Today they switched it up, and I haven't
love when
seen,
they do this.
And
I
I
love
haven't
when they
seen
do
this
this.
play in a while. EJ, it's been
It was Sunday. I had it on Sunday. They
really.
did it. Mhm.
That's interesting, and it's been. I think it's the first time this semester where they switched their playbook. Usually they go with the regular 1 sandwich,
Big
yep,
halves.
and they cut it in half, just regular, and it's 2 sandwiches. But today they went with the 2 little ones, like the 2 small Sammies, and it's just like a miniature size, and they make it 2 sandwiches. But they don't cut it in half just because it's tiny. It's super small, but it's a good portion size. It's kind of like a perfect amount.
It's about the same amount. I
yeah.
would say almost a little more sometimes.
Depending on
who's
on how
doing
big
who makes it.
yeah,
How much
who
chicken
makes it.
they
Right.
hooked you up with.
But it's definitely a good size because you can have 1 half, and if that's not enough, you could have 2 halves, save it, and again, you got like a tiny mini little sandwich. It's kind of perfect.
That was my first time ever having a Springsteen. They were like that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Core memory.
Yeah.
For some reason,
ahead.
that's like a lot of the sandwiches I've been getting this
Really?
year. All the Springsteens I get are just like 2 sandwiches like that. Like recently, they've been switching it where it's just 1 big one they
Right.
can have. I like that more because it's less crust.
I agree.
But
You
I
gotta
don't
like
know.
the
It
crust,
just
though.
it's here and there.
It was good though. I thought today
I
was really
liked
good. Wags, tell me a little bit about your review. I mean, yours came out. Oh, first off, before we get into yours, I kind of want to
Yeah,
give a
go
little
into mine.
timeline. Mitchell Durham,
this is
our
crazy.
special co-host, probably the quickest Springsteen I've ever seen, the quickest sandwich I've ever seen made in human history.
It was nuts.
I mean, EJ, you heard that right?
Whoever made that could be up for the fastest worker.
Could be up for MVP.
Most
Like Patrick
efficient worker.
Mahomes
It was-
level.
It
like,
was special.
And it came out so amazing. I mean, I think I ordered it.
You didn't
got
even
my
sit
chips.
down.
Sit down. Like just opened
You
my
sit
chips.
down.
And then they say, "Hey, we got a Springsteen for Batman."
And
I'm
we
like,
all looked at each other, and we all just looked around, and we're like, "Did we just hear that Batman?" Because I mean,
It must have been under 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like maybe under 2.
that's
It
impossible.
When they know he's busy,
And it
he's got to
came
get a
out-
sandwich.
Exactly.
came out crunchy, came out golden. I don't know how they did it, man, but it was great. It was great today.
And we love Art Street, and we appreciate the time that they take to make perfection at the end of the day. And we embody that, and it's worth it at the end of the day. But that was something I've never seen before. I mean, lightning
crazy
quick.
performance.
It looked like Chris Johnson back in the day playing for the Titans. I mean, just unreal.
I was able to
speed.
finish my sandwich before anyone else even got theirs.
Yeah,
Like,
it was crazy
almost.
stuff. So that delivered. Wags, your sandwich came out a little crispy today. I have never seen
Yeah.
a sandwich that crispy. Talk to me about it.
Let's
What's
put
your
on the
review?
heater.
What's your rating? Give it to me.
So this was the thought process, right? Mitch got his so quick, so I'm thinking, all right, mine's coming a couple minutes after. Took a little longer, but it was all right. But they must have left it on the panini press a little too long because Dad was a little burnt, a little
dark.
crispy. And I don't mind it crispy. I like it crispy. I'll still give it some love, but it was a little dark on the one side, and too much for my liking. But hey, it's a Springsteen. You can't go wrong. So
Yeah, no, it did the job.
That is very true.
definitely did the job.
That is something we've learned here too. Is that it is a Springsteen. It will get the job done.
It's like pizza. It's like bad pizza's still good.
Exactly. And also, people like their pizza a little crisp. Mr. Dave Portnoy, whoever follows his reviews anymore,
Pizza King.
I don't, but he's, again, the Pizza King. And
Does he still even do those reviews?
He does,
Yeah.
yes. But
It's kind of drawn out. I feel like now.
yeah,
But,
he doesn't. I think the problem is he used to do guests all the time. Like when he's
Yeah.
prime time, he'd have Kevin
names.
Hart on,
McConaughey on.
yeah, like a ton of guys,
Yeah.
right? And he doesn't do guests anymore. He just does like 1 or 2 a day. And
I remember his
for me, I just
quarantine.
can't.
His
yeah.
quarantine ones were getting pretty big too.
yeah.
Like where he was doing the unboxing, and then he was also like just frozen pizzas.
Yeah, the frozen
that was
pizzas.
fun.
The frozen pizzas.
Those are cool, yeah.
no, good stuff. And again, I think what he's done and what he's built for them has been.
They just got
cool.
bought out. Did you see that?
Who did?
Barstool, yeah,
Really?
for like $400 million or something.
way.
And like the crazy
I'd
thing
see
is
that.
they're making like almost that revenue in 2 years, every 2 years, and they sold it for
Jeez.
that much. So I don't know why, but it's
I didn't hear that.
interesting.
That's
I think like Portnoy's still like CEO or whatever, but I don't know really know how businesses
he's made
work.
a ton of bread. It's unbelievable.
Oh my gosh,
Crazy.
yeah.
Which I'm not the biggest fan of him. I mean, he's a Michigan fan, and his Twitter account is one of the most annoying things to me. But he's making his money one way or another, and I do have a lot of respect for the man building. I mean, they built that empire from the ground up. So
I don't know.
super cool.
I don't know if you saw the documentary, but it is kind of cool going back because this dude was just like a fat slob sitting in his like office in Massachusetts, like just working on this thing like day and night.
Right.
Which is kind of cool, to appreciate that. But at the same time, I mean, his Twitter is a little annoying from time to time. Like I got to stay away from that.
Yeah, he takes loyalty to another level where it comes to like Michigan football, Michigan anything. And even just takes like outside of Michigan sports just on players. I mean, he'll just ridicule people.
Yeah, like LeBron call, right?
Yeah,
like
he hates LeBron.
He hates LeBron, dude.
He'll never ever give him credit.
Hates Kyrie. He called him like a top like 5 worst humans ever or something like that.
I mean,
like,
it's kind of absurd, but shout out to the pizza reviews, and again, speaking of pizza, shout out to Cousin Vinny's again. But it was a good week for the Springsteen.
Very good.
It was a fun one.
They needed the bounce back,
and they did. They spanned the block, and they did it very well. And hopefully one day we'll be able to get our good friend EJ a good old Springsteen.
We got
switch it up.
Yeah.
It will happen.
It will happen.
We apologize here from the bottom of my heart that we did not get you one today for our review, but we'll bounce back again. So that's our Springsteen review of the week, a good one, and we'll keep you updated going to the next few weeks. Again, man, we're starting to slowly make some moves here, and I think we might have to get a collab going with Art Street.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
That's
what it
gotta
could be,
happen.
but it's got to happen.
T-shirts for sure.
T-shirts.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
Where's my Bruce at? Or
where's
something
my
like
Bruce
that.
at? Something.
Or like
When-
Bruce sent
Bruce
me.
sent.
That would
Tell
be
him Bruce sent me, and because Wednesday, Mitch and Isaiah felt the same thing, and Wednesday was a special day for us because we walked in. We had Miss Shelby, obviously star player, one of the best players in the league here in Flyer Enterprise, and man, we walked up there and she knew right away. And so did the workers. She was working with the president of Art Street, and they knew the dealie. And Double Pickle, I mean, we didn't have to say much. It just felt like we were accepted and we were regulars there. And I think we're getting to a point where we need a collab to happen. We need to put something in the works. And I think slowly as we grow, we can grow with them. It'd be sweet.
I still to this day it's funny when they don't call me Batman already. I'm like, come on, you gotta. I was literally at Bistro this morning, and the one dude's always like, "What up, Batman?"
Yeah,
it cracks me up.
It's classic.
Maybe that's why the sandwich came out though. They're like, all right, it's Batman. He's a regular.
Yeah, maybe they saw.
FE.
Yeah, they might have saw. I don't know. Your signal up in the sky, and they're like, "Oh, it's time."
I saw the
I
light.
turned the bat signal on. They're like, "We gotta get this on the grill. We gotta get it going."
That's
got
gonna
people to save.
I was gonna say that's gonna take me a week to just kind of comprehend how fast that sandwich came out. That was unreal.
It's sub 3 minutes.
That was unreal. I mean, even I'm trying to think of. I don't even know if A-Team and ABP could get it out that fast.
Oh, never. Even the cold meat sandwich.
Yeah.
Dude,
they were business, real deal, and it was a good sandwich again.
It
Crazy
was like
stuff.
getting tenders and fries at Mary Crest. It was that quick.
Yeah.
You just go in.
It's
they
like, I
put
want
it
this,
in.
I want
All right.
this, and then take it, go pay, right? Crazy.
See you later.
But again, we appreciate the greatness over at R Street. And again, another good week of reviews here in the good old Springsteen. Let's move over to sports here. And it is, again, we keep saying it week in and week out. We're getting to that point where
almost March.
It's almost March, and it's the end of college basketball. Starting to trickle in, almost playoff time for the NBA, and then spring sports are starting. Baseball is starting. You got the WBC coming up soon, as well as spring training.
XFL.
XFL. DC Defenders were crazy.
NHL, soccer, out in Europe has been a ton of great games. I believe they have the Champions League right now. I think I saw
golf.
Golf,
too?
another
I don't really watch that.
USFL. That's
The USFL.
I went to the inaugural championship game for that league.
No way.
Wasn't it in
sick.
Canton?
Pro football.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was a great game.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
XFL though, I love the XFL. Y'all got a team? Everyone got a team in here?
I think I might run with Houston.
The Ramblers?
I don't think I have
the
a team.
Roughnecks.
Oh, the Roughnecks. I like that.
Or maybe Vegas Vipers.
Me and Mr. Matt Hansis, me and Mitch's fellow roommate, we were watching Caw-caw. He was we were watching the St. Louis. I think it was the Ramblers. I forget
No,
what
they're the Battlehawks.
The Battlehawks.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, that's true. That's the Battle. Sorry, not the Ramblers. Yeah, the Battlehawks. We were watching a little bit of that game. A.J. McCarron was their quarterback.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable that A.J. McCarron was their quarterback. I mean,
he was throwing dots too, low-key.
Yeah, and they struggled too. I think they lost that game in a tight one, maybe. But
wait, didn't they have that crazy comeback? It was like 3-15, and they won 18-15.
It was something around.
That was
it
in Seattle or something.
How was that?
Because they can do a 3-point conversion.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
crazy
the rules.
stuff. But yeah, A.J. McCarron, an Alabama legend. Back-to-back national champions for them. He won and, was a backup for Houston, a backup for Cincinnati, I believe, and there was another team in
Buffalo,
there.
I think, right?
Buffalo, something like that, yeah. I mean, he was your classic, good college player in a good college system that's going to be a backup for the rest of his life in the NFL, made some good money, and now is playing in the XFL. Just crazy to think about because when my college football fandom started, that guy was a winner, and they were unbeatable. Really, those Alabama teams, they were so solid, and his face just made me laugh seeing him up there playing quarterback. Feels like he's an old bag now, but again, he's still rolling. So yeah, so it's great time for sports here in February, and we're slowly getting into March, and we'll talk about Dayton basketball in our next segment. But before that. This past weekend was All-Star Weekend out in Utah. We had the All-Star game, and
Shaq had some funny things to say about that.
Yeah,
did you see that?
I did peep that.
Ain't nothing to do out here, man. a lot of room service.
It's like a classic Joakim Noah reference for Cleveland when he was like, "Who wants to go on vacation in Cleveland?" Which EJ, I don't agree with that. I love Joakim Noah, but
yeah, you don't want to. Vacation in Cleveland.
Yeah, I love Joakim Noah. It was a really funny comment, I will say. But yeah, All-Star Weekend had the All-Star Game, which again, like or dislike the All-Star Game, I feel like All-Star Weekend for the NBA is hands down the best out of any other professional sport.
Oh yeah, by far.
Way better than Pro Bowl, and I think the dunk contest itself is. Even though people are saying, it's not that exciting anymore, it hasn't been what it used to be, I think it's still more exciting than anything in the Pro Bowl in the NFL. So this year we had Mac McClung coming out of the G League, and Mac McClung, a high school phenom, went to Texas Tech. I believe he started,
all right.
Started at Georgia and then transferred.
Yeah, it's Georgetown. He actually
Georgetown,
started,
that's what I mean, not Georgia.
He played for Patrick Ewing. I believe they made the tournament after they won the Big East, or maybe that was another year for Patrick Ewing. I was seeing that today, which Patrick Ewing is probably going to get fired from Georgetown. They've had a tough year. I mean, he's had a tough career. They've been awful lately in the past decade.
Not what they used to be.
Not at all. Not when he used to play. They were unbelievable. I mean, those Georgetown teams were some of the all-time greats.
But even like Otto Porter, they were still pretty good in the tournament.
Otto Porter, and they were that 2 seed that one year, and they lost. Was that Florida Gulf Coast?
I think it was that FGCU team. Yeah, where it's like the 15 and the 2.
Yep, and the dunk. It's so cool.
Oh man, they just killed their souls.
So good. They blew them out that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mac McClung started at Georgetown, and then, like you said, transferred. He just transferred to several schools in his college career. Got some G League. Played a little bit. I mean, I believe he was on the Warriors for a few games. Played for the Chicago Bulls a few games, and then again, just been hanging in the G League. And then we are getting a call.
No way.
Oh my god.
Look at that. Again, unfortunately, I want to answer it, but we're not allowed to answer it on air. That is, I believe, our 4th or 5th call. And, to whoever is listening, we appreciate the love.
Call us on break.
Yes, call us on break. Our phone system, again, doesn't really work, and we would love to have callers, but our phone system is old as dirt. So we don't even use it. But again, we appreciate the love, and thank you for calling. But man,
wait for break. Wait for break.
Yeah.
They can
Again,
call us on break.
That's crazy that they're looking up the number to call us. Awesome. But back to Mac McClung. In high school, he was unbelievable. I mean,
my gosh.
If you haven't, take a look. I was watching, I believe on Sunday. Yeah. Look up his high school mixtape for, I think it was Grove City. Is that what he is?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Grove City. It's just a random town in South Carolina. And he
pulled out that jersey during that.
Yeah, and he's just jumping out the gym. And yeah, crazy stuff. So he won the dunk contest. His first dunk was unbelievable. I think he did a solid performance. His competitors.
Dude, the last one was probably my favorite.
Really?
The windmill, whatever. It was crazy.
The one that Victor Oladipo did, where he Well, it was like
he brought it up and then brought it back under and like.
Didn't he do the reverse 360 where he like windmilled and like did that? Yeah. So Oladipo did that dunk, and those are two like my favorite dunks that I've seen in recent memory. The first one was when he had a guy standing. I don't know who the people were. A guy standing, somebody on their shoulders, and they had the ball up, and he jumped over both of them, got the ball, hit it off the backboard, and did he reverse it?
I think it almost did kind of look like a reverse.
I think he just put it.
Did he just dunk?
I don't know.
He just laid it in.
You could tell it was.
He just dropped it in.
Impressive.
It was
all the players.
And that was his first dunk too. So he kind of started out with a bang. But yeah, he won the dunk contest.
Deserved. I think he deserved it.
Mm-hmm. And Jason Tatum, I believe, won the 3-point contest. Is that true?
No, Damian Lillard.
That's who it was. Oh, how dare I say that? Damian Lillard. That's who it was. He put on his Weber State jersey in the final round in Dame time. Did he beat Buddy? Who did he beat? He beat somebody who won it.
I can't remember.
I didn't either. But I remember Damian Lillard he put on.
Who did really bad? Was it Sabonis?
I don't know if Sabonis
no,
in it.
I don't know. Who was someone? Oh,
was it?
Maybe? I don't know. Who was it? Someone got like 9 points. They did worse. Like they did so bad.
Really? It looks kind of hard. It's tough up there.
Yeah, but he was like it was Hunter. Maybe it was the guy from the Kings.
Herder.
Herder. Yeah, it was Herder.
Oh,
Kevin
yeah,
Herder.
he's really
Kevin
good.
Herder.
Yeah,
Maryland guy.
3-point
Maryland guy, is he?
specialist, and he got 9 points.
Was on the Hawks.
Yeah.
The Kings.
But he's good though.
Yeah, he's a really good shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, he was playing for Atlanta, and he's a really good shooter. Just had a tough round again, 3-point contest. It happens, you know what I mean? It's just who's going to have a good day, who doesn't. But Dame time, crazy. All-Star game. Some good moments, some fun moments. Jason Tatum was sweating out. He had 55 points, which is the most all time.
MVP.
He beat Anthony Davis's
but he
record.
could literally not miss from beyond the arc. It was nuts.
As much as I was annoyed of him taking every shot, I mean, he was unbelievable.
Crazy to watch.
It was basically him and Donovan Mitchell trading shots.
And also
the whole
Jaylen
game,
Brown. There was a moment in the end of the game. It was the third or fourth quarter where him and Jaylen Brown kind of just into the third quarter.
They just played one-on-one basically.
Yeah. It was
Jaylen Brown was kind of beating him too.
A little bit.
He was looking good.
Then Tatum had that really nice defense where shot clock went off.
Yeah, that was a good stop, and they were going at that was pretty funny just seeing those two teammates. LeBron was in. That's his first loss as a captain, so he's now 5-1 being a captain for Team LeBron. He got hurt though.
Giannis' first time beating
with his finger.
LeBron.
Yeah, Giannis' the first time,
even though he didn't play.
Which now Giannis is better than LeBron all time.
Giannis
but
had the
anyways,
first bucket.
I'm kidding. Yeah, facts. So yeah, LeBron actually. I mean, I believe he tweaked his finger, hit his finger after one of the dunks that he had.
Giannis has a sprained hand too.
Yeah, so. Crazy stuff. But yeah, I mean, the All-Star game was cool.
I think I saw that this All-Star game from last year's 27% down in viewership.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised. I feel like
so that put it lower at this year's NFL Pro Bowl.
Wow. That's
really
insane.
I feel like it was way more talked about.
But I guess that makes sense.
But apparently,
well, I mean, man, you got to realize how much bigger the fan base is for the NFL than the NBA.
And I think that's right. And I think the dunk contest probably had more talk than all of it.
I think this was just considering the game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
not the contests.
Sense. Right. Yeah. So. The dunk contest is always pretty fun. It's always good to look back at those clips. Always a fun time in the All-Star game. So yeah, just some fun stuff overall.
Gosh, like the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine dunk contest.
Nothing.
We were watching that. What night was that? We were watching.
Talk a little bit about that. I mean, that was the craziest dunk contest I've ever seen. The Aaron Gordon dunk is probably the best dunk I've ever watched live. Mm-hmm. I mean, Zach LaVine's is silly. Come on, through the legs, he was barely a step in front of the free throw line. Mm-hmm. That through the legs, silly good. But I would have to say the Aaron Gordon dunk when he jumped over the mascot and put it under the legs and
crazy.
That is the best dunk I've ever seen.
I don't know how he didn't win.
It's up there.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
I was gonna say I mean, dude, I think a lot of people say it should have clearly been Aaron Gordon, but some of those last Zach LaVine dunks are also pretty crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's just they couldn't keep giving them both 50s. It was bound to end. So eventually,
my opinion is still that they should have just been co-champions.
Co-champions.
No one would have wanted that. I feel like
they just literally didn't have anything else.
Yeah,
regardless, your point where it's just nothing.
That was crazy, and I believe Aaron Gordon, and I always forget this, but after I saw like a compilation of like the best dunks in the past decade, like the best 50s, and I forgot that the next year Aaron Gordon did it again, and he lost to Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah,
But Derrick Jones had a good year. Yeah.
Derrick Jones Jr. is
I think
just
one time
long.
half of his body was above the rim.
Yeah, and he's just like, his wingspan is insane. Just a long dude. He had some crazy dunks in there. Some of the best dunks that I've ever seen. I mean, unbelievable. I think he like caught one through the legs off the backboard and jumped over somebody. Crazy stuff. And again, people were saying Aaron Gordon should have went back to back. And since then, he hasn't done it. But
I keep seeing ones like online. It'd be like, this would be the perfect dunk contest, and it's like Zion, Aaron Gordon, like Ja Morant.
Right.
It'll never happen. I guarantee Ja or Zion will never do it.
You have to pay him what?
To get like 1 billion likes or something on Instagram for him to do it.
Really?
He'll do it. I guarantee he'll do it.
At some
Like
point.
probably within the next 5 years, if I had to guess. But like he's just waiting. I mean, like I get why players don't do it though.
Yeah,
Like,
they don't want to get injured.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Mac McClellan like made his whole career salary in the NBA in one night.
100K,
In one
yeah.
night.
His overall salary was 106K since he's been playing basically pro ball, and 100K after winning the dunk contest.
Wow, I didn't
Crazy.
see that. That's sick.
Yeah.
Congrats to him, and again, just a fun career from
Was
him.
that like the prize money of winning?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm sure he
think
got
so.
paid money just to go to it too.
Yeah.
And like he got signed to an NBA contract.
Sixers, I think, right? Took him.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
And Puma signed him.
I
Yeah.
didn't see Puma sign.
Yeah.
I'd hop
his
on the
whole
deal,
life
too.
changed after that.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, good for him. He was always a fun, watch in
Yeah.
high school. He was so fun to see. I mean, just jump out of the gym with a
guess
bunch of
white guys
random
really
white
can
guys
jump.
in South Carolina. Yeah,
guess
crazy
so.
stuff. But yeah, All-Star Weekend was, a fun one, and it'd be interesting to see what the future of the dunk contest looks like. I mean, they got some G League players. Obviously had McClung in the dunk contest, but also the Rising Stars game. They had a bunch of G League players.
Oh, yeah.
Scoot Henderson, who will probably be the second pick in the NBA draft in a few months. Do they have in June? I always forget. When is the NBA draft?
I think it is June.
Or is that
Or
NFL?
maybe
I was thinking
early
that's
July.
NFL.
Might be July.
I always get them mixed up. Yeah, so
I
maybe
feel
a
like
little later.
NFL is like April, man.
Yeah.
Or like May.
No, yeah, you're right.
NFL's April. I'm sure.
We're gonna be
Yeah.
at school for that.
Yeah, which will be interesting.
Yeah.
Lot to go around with the NFL
Trade
draft. but
Justin
yeah.
Fields.
Never. If you're saying that, watch football, please. It's a joke. I'm not
No,
going to talk about
they'll
that.
never trade him.
But yeah,
They'd be crazy.
yeah, a lot of G League. I mean, it definitely was a fun year and I believe they announced a few days ago that's going to be in Indianapolis next year for the Indiana Pacers, I think, for the All-Star game. I could be wrong, but
That would be sick.
That'd be
I'd
fun.
probably go to it.
good for.
Yeah, we could.
I mean, yeah, I was going to
Sweet.
say, shout out to Isaiah, shout out to anybody in Indiana because
We grow basketball. Indiana grows basketball.
go Hoosiers, baby.
Okay, Larry Bird.
But yeah, so yeah, overall a good weekend. We're going to take a quick break here on WUDR, but before we do, our next segment, we'll be talking about the great Dayton Flyers basketball game last night and how, their season has been coming down. We didn't get to talk about it too much because we ran out of time, last week, but in college basketball in general, there's so much to talk about with rankings, controversy, and finally our Dayton Flyers. But we'll be right back after the break here on WUDR. Stay tuned, ladies and gents.
The heart is a balloon, shoots up through the stony ground. There's no room, no space to rent in this town. You're out of luck, and the reason that you had to care, the traffic is stuck, and you're not moving anywhere. You thought you'd found a friend to take you out of this place, someone you could lend a hand in return for grace. It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day to let it get away on the road. But you've got no destination in the mind.
how much is on the line.
Yep. And what were you saying, Wax? My fault.
Oh, nothing. I mean, I was just going to say that it heightens the game, makes the moment bigger and gives an opportunity for the players to step up and
hopefully not too big of a moment.
Yeah. We don't want Dayton to crumble. That's
and we'll see if, they can win the A-10 tournament possibly and get a spot going into March where, they could play a good team like Indiana.
Run?
Yeah, we've seen bracketology where, the winner of the A-10 sitting at that 11, 12, 13 spot, and they could be taken. We've seen Indiana, a few other solid teams from the Power 5 conferences. But college basketball has been a roller coaster this year, and we say this every single year. And we say, this tournament's going to be insane, this March is going to be insane. That's just college basketball. You know what I mean?
General,
and I think in general, we expect that.
That's what makes it so fun, man. Upsets can always happen.
Absolutely, and there's always those 6 or 7 teams that everybody chooses because they're the favorites as far as statistics go, as far as record goes, and superstars that they have. And one of those teams is the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Oh, they're a fun team to watch.
They are a fun team to watch. They got a lot of great players, and not only do they have a lot of great players, got a lot of controversy as of late. Mm-hmm. I do want to talk a little bit about that.
We have to talk about it.
I mean, it is one of the craziest stories I've heard of sports stories in recent memory. If you don't know, earlier in the season, the beginning of the year, there was a player named Darius Miles who played for Alabama, and he was charged with capital murder, first-degree murder. He shot and killed a 23-year-old woman. And I believe he had relations with this woman, shot and killed her, I believe, outside of like a motel or a hotel in a parking lot. And he was on the team at the time. He just went on with his life and went on the road, and then found out that he committed a murder. He was arrested, and time went on, and it was just kind of a crazy week for Alabama, especially as everybody knew they were that good.
Before the season started too.
It was beginning of the year, and everybody knew they were going to be so good, and it was that's just unbelievable, super random. And the news just wrapped back around just 2 or 3 days ago when it was revealed that potentially Brandon Miller, a 5-star recruit, he's a freshman now for Alabama. He's an All-American. He's
probably going to be a lottery pick.
He's going to be a first-round pick. He's been their best player on one of the best teams in the country. Potentially provided Darius Miles the gun that he used to murder the woman, which is just unbelievable. It's just a crazy story.
And I think you can get a felony charge for that. I think you can be put in jail.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll see how, what happens in the future. But since the story has broke, the athletic department for Alabama, Nate Oates, the head coach, has said he's done nothing wrong. They haven't suspended him from anything. Last night, he dropped 41 points. 41 points against South Carolina, along with a buzzer beat. At South Carolina, a buzzer beater to win 41 points. 41 points in a college game is unbelievable. I mean, one of the best college performances
ever.
Not with a buzzer beater.
Especially this season.
Ever. Not only to mention just the game alone, but also with what's going on in his life. The past few days, I mean, he's been the talk of the town in college basketball. The craziest story. I mean, South Carolina fans definitely gave him an earful last night with chants.
According to what I saw on Twitter, they were literally the student section was chanting every time he got the ball, "Lock him up."
Yeah.
Lock him up.
It's crazy. I mean, the jokes that have been made, the memes, it's just unbelievable. What's going on in that program, and I don't know what's going to happen with him, but nothing has happened as of yet, obviously, because he dropped 41 points last night and zero suspension. It's just crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
He literally has that dog in him. I mean, that was one of the coolest performances I've ever seen. I mean, coming out like that is crazy. Dropping 41 while you just got potentially a career-ending news dropped on you, something that could prevent you from making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And then to ball out and be everyone shut up. I'm here to play some basketball and win games.
And I think another thing is, when I heard the news, I had to rub my eyes. I was like, Brandon Miller, we're talking about, an All-American, potential player of the year, maybe the best freshman in college basketball this year. He's been amazing. I had to take another look, and my first reaction was, man, is he gonna be out? He's gonna be out for the year.
He's done.
He's
That's
done.
what I thought. Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen to him if he can come back. but he's done with that news. In 0 suspension. I mean, I don't know, what the reasoning is behind it. I don't know how it works legally, but Alabama.
I think they said there was no evidence yet.
That's what they're saying, and his attorney actually came out with a statement last night claiming the story that Brandon Miller said, saying that he was that he dropped Darius Miles off at like a nightclub and then went to pick him up. And Darius Miles left the gun in the car, and Brandon Miller didn't know. And there's also text messages between them, so that's definitely going to be prime evidence that they're going to use for that story. But he didn't know, got there, and he was they basically are claiming, Nate Oates and the Alabama basketball program are claiming that he's just a suspect on the scene. And that he didn't have anything to do.
I really hope it is that, because he's a stud, and I want to see him play in the league.
Just a crazy story. Especially with the season that Alabama's been having. I've never seen anything like it. It's definitely something you want to keep your eye out on. And, I woke up this morning and I checked Twitter, and the first thing I saw is that he dropped 41 points and a buzzer beater against South Carolina, which South Carolina, again, isn't very good, but we've seen talking
SEC basketball.
We've seen about talking, Dayton basketball and just college basketball in general. Playing on the road in conference is not easy to do. It is hard. And especially, in a Power 5 conference, it is not easy, no matter how good the other team has been. Just that environment, and especially last night, with what Brandon Miller probably heard from South Carolina fans, definitely was not easy for him. So just a crazy story.
I'm sure it's a loud environment, too. I'm sure of it.
It is, but, but we're going to go to a quick break just in a second, and we'll get our final stones of the week, our final thoughts. But I do want to ask, back on the topic about the Dayton Flyers, how are we feeling with where we're at in the season? Obviously, 3 games left. We got George Mason this Saturday, got LaSalle next Tuesday, and then they'll end the regular season on the road against St. Louis. With how they've been playing, should Flyer fans be worried that they could drop a tough one, against George Mason and LaSalle? How do you guys expect them to end the season, the regular season, and possibly perform in the A-10 tournament? EJ, I'll start with you.
I think fans should be worried because what I think could happen with this young team, because they're all sophomores, almost all of them, they could be looking ahead to that rivalry that we talk about with St. Louis and not focus on LaSalle, most likely.
Yeah.
But they also have to focus on this game because also Deron Holmes, him being a stud and all, but I believe George Mason has the biggest center in the A-10 other than Deron.
Yeah, I think so, too.
So this could be a very big challenge for Deron, and they just can't be looking ahead to the next game. They have to take one game at a time.
Yeah, George Mason, again, 16-12, I believe, on the season. They got some good scores.
They're a very good team.
And they beat us last year at George Mason.
We've lost them
late in the season last year when, again, it was kind of that same situation last year where Flyers were on a roll, beat some really good teams, and went into George Mason and dropped one and kind of set them back down. But we'll have them on the road at home this Saturday, and they'll have a chance to get a little bit of redemption after the end of last year. And definitely, like you said, EJ, I think that's important, taking it game by game and not looking forward to that St. Louis game where they want to go. They want to win both of those games. They don't want to split in the regular season.
100% agreed. Going into I definitely do think they have to focus more short-term than long-term, especially when they get to the tournament, because that is something I feel like this team, because I feel like they get a little too ahead of themselves sometimes, which happens with a young team. But I think, gosh, man, it's scary saying it, but I think hope should be high. I think there's a very good chance we could go into this A-10 tournament and play very good. I think at-large is out of the window. I feel like that's kind of the mindset we've had for a while now. And I think that's the mindset you need to have going into it. And I think they have to start realizing it's like kind of you got to win or go home at this rate. And especially when the tournament comes around. Yeah. So hopefully they play their hearts out. And I think knowing that Anthony Grant and the team, they should be... I think there's a very good chance they could win the A-10.
Yeah, a lot of work left to do for Anthony Grant and the Flyers. Wags, what's your key for Dayton going out to the end of the season?
given this season, I think Flyers fans have to be worried about these last 3 games, But the one thing that's a good sign about that is we haven't peaked as a team. We don't know what that ceiling looks like. I think we have a lot more potential to grow. The biggest thing, like pretty much everyone else has said, take it game by game. Let's slow it down, play our pace, and I think that's going to work out for us. For the tournament, do they take the top 2 teams and give them buys?
For the A10,
Yeah.
I believe it's the top
4 teams.
They have 6 tournaments. 6 tournaments. I think they have 6 teams in the tournament. So I think
6 teams in the tournament?
6. I think it's 6 in the A10 tournament, or is it 8?
Might be 8. I don't know.
I thought they
kind of weird since they added Loyola too.
I was gonna say, and there's so many freaking teams in the entire league.
True.
I believe it's either it's either 6 teams in the tournament and they take the top 3 as get a bye, or they do 8 in the top
8 and the
4.
top 2 get
top 2.
2 round buys and
that might
4
be
get
it.
1 round buy.
It's a mess.
It's something like that.
It's a
I
mess.
don't know.
Oh, either way,
Whoever
again,
makes that up.
it doesn't matter because.
It's win or go home.
Yeah, exactly. It's win or go home for any team in the A10. So, overall, what do we think as far as, you can't look too far ahead, but if Dayton somehow gets into March, gets in, the Midwest region with, let's say, like a 12 seed, and they take on, a solid Power 5 team that did not win their conference, but a really good team, how do you think they would stack up as far as Dayton's size and, their ability to play with, high caliber teams?
For me, I think it comes a lot down to coaching. I think Anthony Grant is going to have to take a huge role because these teams are, our team is young and they really don't have any experience postseason, minus a little bit of tournament play from last year in the A10 tournament, but still they got knocked out kind of early. I think they could still do very good, though. The Flyers play to their competition at a really high level, and I think we saw that last year with our few quad 1 wins. And even this year, like when we were playing the ranked, or they weren't even ranked at the time, but the teams in the Bahamas, I think we those games weren't blowouts or anything, minus like kind of the BYU one-ish.
I mean, we were blowing them out at half.
Well, they sent that to overtime.
Which one was the
embarrassment was the Virginia Tech game.
Oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was our worst loss, but I think that was also at a really big low for our team, and I think right now we're probably at the most healthy we've been all year, and I think like Wags has said, the ceiling of this team has not been reached, and I think that we could start seeing that high level play come the end of the A10 tournament and going into the actual tournament if they make it.
Yeah, a lot of work to do.
Danes, they're going to need to play a complete game. I think I agree with Mitch that Dayton plays their competition. I think when it comes down to it, they're going to ball, they're going to hang with the good teams, but these Big Ten conference teams or these Power 5 conference teams have been playing good competition all year. They're going to be a little more refined. So, it's just the little things. Like a couple weeks ago, we were talking about I was getting to the end of the VCU game. It was just bad clock management, stuff like that. It's like that has to be cleaned up. That stuff that cannot be happening in the tournament because that's what's going to win or lose a game.
And, Wags, you were there for that last game in the A10 tournament last year when they lost to Richmond.
They're up by 14 and a half, and they blew it.
Yep. Malachi Smith goes down late. And
that's definitely something we need to work on.
They lost that game, and you're like, man, they were close to getting to that A10 championship, maybe beating Davidson like they already did in the season. But it turns out after the year that we found out they were 1 win. All they needed to do was win that Richmond game, and they would have got in an at-large bid as they were the 65th team. Just tough, man.
Tough pill to swallow.
Even if I think it's even more simple if we wouldn't have lost to any of those unranked bottom 200 teams in the beginning of the year, I think we could have probably gotten a bid. Because I don't think Richmond didn't deserve to win the A10, honestly. They didn't deserve that bid. Obviously, it's good for them.
They got to win. They beat Michigan State, I believe, in the first round. So
so maybe they did. But I also, Wags was saying, we need to make sure we can close out games, man.
Yep.
And hopefully we can get that big of a lead in the in those kind of games, but we need to hold on to our leads. We struggle with giving up big runs and just struggling on offense for 5 minutes in a row, and then Anthony Grant calling no timeouts and that. So I think just closing out games and like maintaining a lead will be huge.
Yeah, and what we've seen this year, and we've talked about it, is in a ton of games this year, Dayton has played down to their opponents, played down to the level of competition. Wow. But we haven't seen that in the past few games. I mean, Loyola, we didn't see that. Played really well, won by 16, what they should have, and then last night they dominated. Had less than 10 turnovers, and I think that's a key again.
Oh, yeah.
Those little things. Less than 10 turnovers, right? Malachi Smith, I believe, at 8 or 9 assists with 1 turnover. That's key, and, with a player of his caliber, we expect that. But overall, as a team, taking care of the basketball and just being productive and efficient offensively is going to put them in a good spot. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break until we go to our final segment with our Stone of the Week, Mr. Evan Just, a.k.a. EJ E-Bands. But before we go into the break, we're going to take a quick little music break. And you guessed it, baby. You named it. We are going to play some Bruce Springsteen, a little Dancing in the Dark. We'll be right here, ladies and gentlemen, to the great show of 3 Birds and 1 Stone here on WUDR Flyer Radio here in Dayton, Ohio. I'm Joe Sullivan alongside my partners Mitchell Durham, Money Mitch, and Wags.
Cha-ching.
Bow, bow. Welcome back to the show with The Vibe here on 99.5. And our Stone of the Week, EJ. Welcome back. And we are in our final segment. And welcome back, man, to our final segment. And one of the best segments that we have here, our Stone of the Week, our singular Stone. And
at Allie Berkey.
Shout out Allie Berkey. But, for us, me, Wags, and Mitch, it always feels like when we have our Stone, we just cherish those moments, right? Mm-hmm. We feel like a family, and it always feels like we get to kind of just circle around our singular Stone and just appreciate,
almost like a little bit like
to have the Stone in our lives, and
like a dinner table conversation.
Absolutely, and in our bird's nest, as it kind of is in our logo, right? Just, EJ, again, thank you so much for joining. It's been such a pleasure. Yeah, it's been such a great time with you, and just so interesting to hear, just about your sports life and your sports story. And it makes my heart sing, and I'm praying for you. This is for you. And I'm just praying for you as a Cleveland as a fan. Chicago, Cleveland. I think we can relate on some things.
Too bad you guys ain't got no LeBron. Michael Jordan, but a little late for that.
Cleveland. But yeah. Okay. So our final segment of the week, our Stone of the Week, and again, ladies and gentlemen, this is where anything on our minds. We just go around the circle and kind of give a take related to anything about the human life in the world, in Earth, planet Earth. So, Wags, I'm going to start with you. What's been on your mind, boss?
Earlier this week, I was watching Ferris Bueller. Great movie, classic 80s movie.
Fantastic.
Great vibes. I love it. And oh, yeah.
Iconic.
I love that movie. And so, I've seen it, plenty of times, rewatching it, kind of, getting a new perspective on it.
Right.
And they're talking about save Ferris, and I think the whole time, they're saving Cameron, and I was seeing a little bit of Cameron in myself. And I think we all see a little bit of Cameron in ourselves.
Wow.
So this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, save yourself. Have some fun. Get spontaneous. Get into some trouble.
Absolutely.
Have some fun. Appreciate the beautiful things in life, like this weather, like the friends around you, like the relationships that you have. And let's have some fun. Let's get after it.
Man, wise words from a wise man.
Such a beautiful Stone.
And, we talked about this last week as just self-love is so important.
He just is loving it out there, and I'm really glad to have him around.
Yeah, super cool. Dogs are awesome.
They're the best, man.
They're so cool.
Good for the soul.
And, it's just so good that you get to have that emotional support, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, he's just there. And it's just such a nice addition to the family and the SAE, culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super happy to hear about that. My Stone of the Week, I'm going to go with back to college baseball. And we did not talk about college baseball that much, but I want to give a shout out to a name that I'm sure many people have not heard yet. And Wags, I know you're an Ole Miss guy. Mm-hmm. And Ole Miss, Mississippi State, it's a big rivalry, obviously. Oh, yeah. But I want to give a shout out to a pitcher by the name of Jurangelo Quingente, who is a freshman at Mississippi State. And this guy pitches with his right and his left hand.
Oh, I saw this.
I've heard about this guy.
90 plus.
Yesterday, he pitched, I believe, and he started for them. True freshman, comes on in. with his right arm. He throws 97 miles per hour. He has his glove. His glove can switch. It can switch hands. So it's like, yeah, because he can throw dual. He can just throw both arms.
It's crazy.
He threw 97 with his right and 91 with his left.
Stupid.
Wow.
I mean, that's just. I just want to give that.
It's gonna change.
Unbelievable.
It's gonna change.
Well, do you
sports.
know that Pat Venditti guy who was
Yes.
on the Yankees for a little bit? And he did the same thing. He had
Yeah.
the weird glove and he switched, but like
Yeah.
he wasn't that good.
No, he
You know?
wasn't. But like
this guy
is a true freshman.
Yeah.
This kid's 18 years old. He's throwing 97 with his right, and 91 with his left.
They're probably gonna have to make rules about this. Like, I mean, they're
They have
probably
a
gonna have to
little.
make new pitching rules about like.
I don't think you can switch like pitch after pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think
something like
batters
that.
you can probably
yes.
switch.
In the MLB, they made the Venditti rule where it's like the pitcher decides and then the batter gets to choose.
Right. It's unbelievable. I mean, throwing 90 miles per hour is a tall feat, let alone both arms. I mean, it's incredible. So just a name I want to put out there. It's just special in the modern day of sports and just talent and genes.
You
It's
know,
just crazy.
Matt was my roommate. Matt was brought up that like the next thing we might see like take over the game would be like an ambidextrous like quarterback. Like, could you imagine that if you
Yeah.
had a quarterback that was like able to like just if they're like so they don't have to like throw cross body every
could
time
just
and
switch
stuff.
it.
I think
Switch
that would be
arms.
crazy to see how
Yeah.
that would change a sport. I feel like it's one of those things that could be like the next big thing in sports.
Yeah, awesome stuff. I mean, just a story I wanted to put out there and highlight. I mean, it's just crazy watching him just being able to throw 90 plus from both
Baller.
arms. Unbelievable. So yeah, EJ, let's go to you. Our final stone with our stone, our singular stone. Let's hear it.
My stone of the week is going to be, me and Noah started this today. Just got through episode 1, but the new season of Outer Banks just came out.
Oh, I forgot it came out like
Yes.
today, right?
So me and Noah watched
How did I
the
not know
first
that?
episode this morning.
How was it?
It was fantastic.
Really?
I thought it was fantastic because I thought this season was kind of going to be iffy because I didn't know where they were really going to
Yeah. Go with it.
go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I mean, they could make it.
But I always love a good I guess I would say cinematic project.
Did you like season 2? What'd you think?
I
Now,
like to-
Evan, I have a very important question about Outer Banks. Would you say you watch it for the plot?
Or for Sarah
I would.
Cameron?
What is
yeah.
the plot?
but also yes.
I was me and Matt. I started the first episode today, and I was like, man, I watched the recaps of season 1 and 2 because I wanted to freshen myself up. And boy, was I just cracking myself up looking at some of those old stuff that happened. Because man, it is probably one of the worst written shows. Get so big, but nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
entertaining.
It is very entertaining,
Whether you
and
like it or not.
that's what I was gonna say. I am still gonna probably watch it, and I think. One of the big aspects of that too is it kind of came out right in the peak of quarantine, and it's like kind of like something we can all like rely to, or like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, cool stuff. I mean, dang, that's crazy. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like, when the season was coming up, they gave a trailer a few months ago, and I was like all over it, and people were talking about it. I have not seen anything. I'm sure on TikTok, I'll take a look in an hour, and there's going to be tons of videos.
Yeah,
This happened.
Yeah.
Did they release, is it episode by episode, or is it the entire season?
Yeah, all 10 episodes are released.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely something to watch, and I'm
gonna
going to
kill
add that
that.
to my forte. Obviously, with The Last of Us, I'm almost done with The Sopranos, so that's fun. And then again, The Mandalorian's coming out next month, first week of March.
Probably next week.
I also need to go see Ant-Man.
Ant-Man,
Oh, same.
that's a new movie that everybody's been talking
I
about.
am a Marvel fanatic.
So yeah, a lot of good stuff going on there. But unfortunately, we do not have any time left here this
we
week
gotta wrap it up.
on Three Birds and One Stone. But again, EJ, it's just a special thank you. It's been such a blast having you here, and it's great to add you to the collection of stones, of stoners, and we appreciate you coming on.
Yep.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this week's episode of Three Birds and One Stone here on WUDR. Make sure to tune in next week, again, 2 to 4 on Thursday. And again, you can follow us on Instagram at Three Birds and One Stone. The one is a number. It's a number. So, yep, me and Mitch and Wags will be back. So make sure, to tune in again for another great episode and keep updated on our social media page. Thank you so much, and we'll be back next week here for Three Birds and One Stone.
Waking up in a dream, sleepwalking on another big stage, and